This is an Ielts speaking test simulation. Hello, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can I start by asking your name?
Yep, my name is Philip Kane and I'm 26 years old.
Great. And where are you from, Philip?
I'm from the northern suburbs of Melbourne.
And how long have you been there for?
So I've lived in the northern suburbs for around 25 years.
Okay, great. And are you working or are you studying at the moment?
I currently work with my sister in videography, which is fun.
Great. Now we're going to start with part 1 of the speaking test. We're going to talk about songs and singing. Did you enjoy singing when you were younger?
I did enjoy singing a lot when I was younger. I wasn't necessarily very good. However, I thought that I was good, which kind of propelled me forward to just sing as much as I could. But then as time went on, that kind of dwindled away and I kind of did stop singing for a bit.
And how often do you sing now?
Now, I sing a lot more. I often sing a lot in the shower and if I'm working, which is kind of annoying at times for the people around me because again, like I said, I'm not a very good singer, but I think you don't have to be a good singer to enjoy singing. I think it just kind of comes from inside and your soul and yeah.
Do you have a favourite song that you love listening to?
I do have a favorite song. It's called Happier by Ed Sheeran. It's kind of one of those bittersweet songs. It's kind of, it's sad and it has elements of love in it. And that's what I love because I love rom-com kind of songs. So it makes me feel good after listening to it, even though it is sad.
And how important is singing in your culture?
Singing in my culture is very important. So I come from a European family and when we work, we sing. So if we are doing house chores like washing dishes, we'll just start singing because I think it kind of, number one, it gets you going and also it makes the job that you're doing bearable, especially if it's very mundane. So yeah, it's very important for us.
Okay, let's move on to part 2 of the speaking test. I'm going to ask you to describe a movie actor from your country who is very popular. You should say who the actor is, what kinds of movies he or she is in, and what you know about the actor's life. Also explain why you think the actor is so popular. You'll have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes, and you've got 1 minute to think of your answers, and you can take some notes with this if you like.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, please tell me all about your actor that you've chosen.
Yep, so the actor that I've chosen is the Australian actor Chris Hemsworth, who is known a lot for his role of Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think he's played the character something like 6 or 7 times now. He was originally first known for playing on a television soap opera called Home and Away, where he was kind of the blonde bombshell, except the male version of that. And over the years, his popularity died out shortly after that, but then it came up again when he did the Thor films. And since then, he's become almost the poster boy for Australia. You know, he's everything that Australia kind of puts out there for the world. He's kind of this blonde, blue-eyed, tall, masculine Aussie bloke. And I know that he's married to a Hispanic actress. I think her name's Elsa something. I don't know the last name, but it's Elsa something. And I know that they have a few kids and they live in Byron Bay, which I hear brings a lot of it's like a tourist attraction because they actually live there. So yeah, and apart from that, I know that he's done a lot of promotional work for Australian tourism, I think in the last year or so. He's also a brand ambassador for Boss, the perfume brand. And I know that he also does some charity work, I think here and there. And He also does. He currently has a app out for, I think, Android and iOS for what's the word? Health workouts.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that. Now we're going to go on to part 3. I'd like to talk about watching movies. What are the most popular types of films in your country?
So the most popular type of films in my country would probably be, I would say, comedies. I think Australians also have a tendency to watch a lot of films actually which come from the US. I don't think that we tend to watch a lot of films which we actually make here, which is a little bit sad. So I think as the trends in the world change, so does the trends in Australia. Like, for example, there's a lot more superhero films now, so we watch a lot more superheroes. You know, our cinemas get flooded, and we watch a lot of that kind of genre. I think that with the general public, though, there is a tendency to gear towards more comedy-based type films, because I think it kind of represents the Australian psyche of having a bit of a laugh and not taking things too seriously.
And what is the difference between watching a film in the cinema compared to watching it at home?
I think the difference is that at home you can pause the film, or you can stop the film and you can, go and do what you need to do and then come back and watch it. Whilst in the cinema, it's a bit more of an experience. You're going out, you get dressed up, you try and go out with, somebody, whether you take a friend or a partner or whatever. And it's kind of an experience. You go, you maybe grab some dinner or something afterwards or before. So those are the kind of two, obviously, differences.
Do you think that cinemas will close in the future?
I think cinemas will die out in a way, but I think that there will always be cinemas, and I think they will have a comeback, because even though staying at home and watching films is great, and streaming them on your phone or iPad or whatever is fantastic for convenience, humans by nature long for community and kind of long for something where we can share and experience something together. And I think cinema does that. It's a place where we can all go because we all have a common interest, which is watching whatever we're watching on screen, and it kind of brings us together. And I think humans long for that. So I don't think it'll never kind of die out, but it will probably go for a bit of a dip.
Mm-hmm. And now a couple of questions about theatre. How important is the theatre in your country's history?
That is a very good question. I think, to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about the theatre history of Australia. I know that it exists. I know that in recent years, it's probably not as popular as what cinema is, simply because it's not necessarily as accessible to the masses, especially if you live out in a country town in the middle of nowhere in Victoria. But it's always been here, I know that much. And the fact that it still remains means that it is important, or it has a place.
Do you think generally people prefer theatre or films?
I think generally people prefer film, simply because it's what the masses have grown up accustomed to. Unless, of course, you come from a household which kind of promotes, going to the theatre every week or every second week or whatever. I know, you'd probably have more people who watch films every day than go to the cinema once a month, let's say.
And last question, do you think the theatre should be run as a business or as a public service?
That's a very good question. I think that theatre should be run as a business, I guess. To To be honest, I'm not too sure about the mass differences between both, but I think that as it is now is quite fine how it's operating.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time today. That's the end of the speaking test simulation.
Thank you for having me.